You're listening to the Grassroots Church podcast. We're a Jesus-centered community in Thunder Bay, Ontario. You can learn how to participate more by going to our website at grassroots.church.
Morning, friends. If you are grade 6 and under, you can join Linda at the back, who will lead you to Roots and Shoots, our Sunday school ministry here at Grassroots. So we are in the final message in our summer series, which indicates, unfortunately, that summer has come to an end. We are in a final message, and this is not really a message, this is a conversation. We've been having these conversations this summer in the series called Stories from Among Us, and the whole idea of this series is for us to get to know one another a little bit better, and to see what our journeys of faith have looked like and how faith looks in our everyday lives. Members of our grassroots community. And so I've been chatting with a few of you throughout the week or throughout the summer up here and just having a fairly informal conversation and talking about faith and life and struggles and all those fun things. And so this morning it is such an honor that we get to have Joseph Modi. I'm going to invite Joseph. You can come on up. Joseph is going to share a little bit about his story. I'm going to read his bio. I'm going to read his bio, and then he's going to share a little bit of his story through question and answer format kind of thing, and we will have a good conversation. I don't know that we're going to have time for Q&A this morning. If we whiz through these questions and you have yes and no answers, then that'll be fine, but I suspect it might be a little bit more than that. So we'll try to do that. So let me begin by reading Joseph's story. And now Joseph has been a part of this church community since 2007, 2008. Years before Ron and I came, years before many of you have come. So he's been here for a long time. And yet I think I could safely say that many of us don't know your background, don't know your story. And I don't know if that's intentional or what, but today it all comes out. Okay, let me read this great bio here. So Joseph is a father of 8. 5 biological children, 3 stepchildren. He was born into a large family of 7 siblings and spent much of his childhood living as a refugee in Uganda. He is the 3rd youngest, and today, one of just 4 surviving siblings. Joseph lost his father at the age of 15, and in 2019, his mother passed away as well. After their father's passing, still just as a teenager, Joseph and his brother began carrying the responsibility of caring for his family. So it's quite a bit on your shoulders at such a young age. In 1987, when Joseph was just 19, he left his home country of South Sudan to further his studies. He did not return until 24 years later. His journey took him to Jordan, where he pursued graduate studies, and then he moved to Egypt. How long were you in Egypt?
2.5 years.
2.5 years, okay. 2.5 years in Egypt before arriving in Canada in 2003, and you came straight to Thunder Bay, correct? And you're just like, why move anywhere else when you've reached perfection, right? I don't blame you. And he's lived here now for 22 years. Joseph's faith journey has been as varied as his travels. He grew up attending a Catholic services. He was baptized and confirmed in the Anglican Church, and later became a more intentional Christian when living in Jordan, where he was completing his graduate studies. During this time, Joseph found himself hanging out among a group of students from the Jordan Evangelical Theological Seminary, and they influenced him to be more intentional in his faith. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. While in Jordan, Joseph was a member of a small congregation, and he served here for a year as their treasurer. In Egypt, he joined a medium-sized congregation, serving first as their secretary and later as the board chair. Since arriving in Canada back in 2003, Joseph made his home here in Thunder Bay. In 2007, he helped launch the Thunder Bay branch of Bicycles for Humanity. How many people have heard of this organization? Great. Yeah, they're out of Kelowna, I believe, and they have a branch here, and Joseph helped start that. So he volunteered for several years to ship about 10 containers of bicycles to Namibia, Zambia, and Sierra Leone. Joseph has always had a heart for service, for volunteering. He has always volunteered wherever we need him in terms of the technical side of things. This guy's a genius, so he can fix pretty much anything IT related, which I've always appreciated. So yeah, before leaving his home country, he taught math and physics while completing his degree. And over the years, he's also worked as a teacher, a mechanic, and a computer nerd, each with its own rewards, though he admits he won't be returning to life as a mechanic anytime soon. So I'm curious why. Just didn't really enjoy that, getting oily and greasy?
It's a great career. Only one thing. I'm allergic to swearing. Mechanics swear. There's a
Holy
lot.
swear.
The one time I had to swear was I said Jesus Christ. So they said today I saw, and then they put up the date and the time.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then I quickly remembered that do not mention my name in vain. So I'm also guilty of this.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so Joseph, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to this conversation. We've been talking back and forth throughout this week about where we want to steer the conversation and stuff like that, but we're just going to let it flow. I want to begin by asking you about growing up. You lost your father at a young age. A lot of responsibility was placed on your shoulders. Can you talk about how, and just like growing up in a refugee camp in Uganda, how all of those fairly intense experiences has shaped you to become the person you are today?
When my family moved to Uganda, I was pretty young. But then we really never grew up in a camp, but we grew up as urban refugees. My father was a little educated, and he worked in a big corporation in East Africa. My father worked as an accountant, and we were all over East Africa. But, of course, in a new country, life was a little bit different. We had to learn the language, and we really became like Ugandans. Many people who moved to Uganda as refugees suffered, but for me, we really never suffered. But it's only because I grew up in a different country.
I see. Just on that note, and I'm curious, there's a decent sized Ugandan community here in Thunder Bay. Have you connected with that community or the South Sudanese community here over the years?
Yes. I know both people from Uganda and people from South Sudan, and yes, I have connected with many people here.
Oh, that's great. And many of them are Christians, aren't they?
Yes. In Uganda, about 60 to 70% are Christians, and we have Muslims.
Right. That are like there's animism and religions
yes, of
like
course.
that.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so I know, and we talked a little bit about this, there's a potential we might both choke up here. You're used to that from me. I'm sorry. But Joseph has also given you fair warning. He might. I am going to ask this question, and Joseph, feel free to speak to it as much as you'd like. But I understand your parents, like for many of us, were absolutely pivotal in your life. And your dad passed away when you were 15. Your mom passed away 6 years ago now. I wonder if you can say a little bit about your parents and share what kind of people were they? And then maybe what kind of impact have they had in forming you into the person you are today?
Okay, you be the judge. Parenting is pretty key to who you are. Like for myself, my parents were very strict. And of course, like everyone else, you think that when you are still young, they are not doing the right thing. They're always wrong. But
sorry.
Looking
I've
back,
got kids in the crowd.
Yeah, looking back in time, I quickly realized that they were doing the right thing. They pretty much controlled me from doing the bad things, and which I felt like at the time I was being controlled, like every teenager. But definitely, after my father passed, my mom was pretty tough on us. In the beginning, we kind of relaxed a little bit, but then we decided, you know what, this is not it. We have to step up, and that's when myself and my brother, older than me, decided, you know what, we either do it or this family is completely gone. Because in most third world countries, and especially in South Sudan, the men are the breadwinners. So if we didn't step up, it would be tough. So my mom urged us to do things, and then eventually we decided, no, this is our role. So we would wake up so early in the morning and go out to the farms, cultivate before we go to school. And during the weekends, we do the same. So after doing that, we could see the joy in our mom, seeing that things were under control. Our oldest brother had to move away from the village to go to a much larger town so that he could work and supplement what we were doing. And this really, really worked very, very well. So in all, whatever you see right now, the credit goes to my parents, especially my mom, who lived with us longer.
Yeah. Wow. Were you able to go back for the funeral in 2019?
Yeah. So when my mom was sick, she was sick for a very long time. So she never had insurance. I was her insurance. So I really worked hard.
Yeah, that's fair. Cool. Yeah, I think when you were sharing that, I noticed a couple parents kind of tapping their kids, like, listen.
Yeah. So I was her insurance. So in Canada, I really worked hard. I tried to take her to the best hospitals in Uganda. So initially, she had heart problems. We focused on that with the best hospital. And as this progressed, then suddenly we found out that she had cancer. And unfortunately, it was now stage 4 cancer.
Okay.
So there was nothing. She became palliative. And that was the saddest time. I went back and spent about 6 weeks together with my mom.
Oh, okay. That's good.
So
Yeah.
like Steve, I choke. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. You know what? It's totally fine.
So when my mom passed, I was back in Canada.
Yeah.
And I was just recently there. I'm like, continue, just bury my mom, I'll come. Yeah. So then I visited later. Yeah.
Can I ask how often you get to go back home now?
Every year.
Every year?
Yeah.
For a couple of weeks kind of thing?
Yeah, sometimes 3, 2, 5.
Yeah.
The last one was 7.
Wow, nice. Yeah. Oh, good for you. That's great. Okay, this is something I'm curious on. So you grew up in a Catholic service or church kind of thing. You're baptized in Anglicanism, and then you said you became a Christian, a very intentional Christian, when you were living in Jordan. You interacted with this group of students from the seminary there, the evangelical seminary, and I wonder if you can share a little bit about what it was that compelled you to take your faith more seriously, to become more intentional as a Jesus follower. What was it about their influence? What was it about this group of people?
So there's this thing about Christianity. When you see a Christian, sometimes you mock them, you laugh at them, especially if you're not a Christian. I'm like, what are they really doing and all that? So they kind of act like they know Jesus and all that. So when we went to this small congregation, a lot of people really never appreciated these theologians, the way they were acting. And then we had this election. They wanted to elect an executive, and then everybody wanted me to be in that executive with these theologians. So I was elected into the executive, and then that was fine, and they were very happy. Now we have somebody who is going to see what these guys are doing. And then we had a meeting, and everybody was a theologian. I was the only person, and everybody was talk about yourself, your journey in faith and all that. I'm like, okay.
You're like,
So then right there, I'm like, you know what? Why not? So then I decided, this is it. I have to step it up and really become a real Christian and follow Christ. I mean, I was already going to church, and I thought everything was fine. Like many people, they feel like, okay, going to church is enough and all that. And so that changed my life among this group of guys who had a different life, and that was it.
Yeah, good. Do you still keep in touch with some of those folks?
A lot. And
really? Yeah.
One of them really is a really, really good guy. He has a very, very big congregation in BC, British Columbia. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Have you gone to visit him?
I am going in August, and I'll visit him,
That's so cool.
Yeah.
You should invite him over here too.
I'll let him know.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Okay, a little bit of a difficult subject, perhaps, just the way things are. But I know that on your heart you are, you feel a particular compassion for those who have undergone religious persecution, especially in the Arab world. And I know you said you'd like to talk a little bit about that. And so I want to just give you just a few minutes to kind of share what you'd like to share about maybe what you witnessed, what we can do as a community in terms of prayer and action, perhaps, toward that end. Go ahead.
Okay, so in most of the Arab world countries, just like the name Arab world countries, most of them are Muslim. I have lived in several of those ones. Religion is not a choice. It's by inheritance. So your parents are Muslims, you become a Muslim. Your parents are Christians, you become a Christian, whatever your parents are. So for a Muslim to become a Christian, it's a no-go. It's a death sentence in a way.
Wow.
It's really tough. The family have the right to kill that person who becomes a Christian. The other way around, it's always very, very welcome. For a Christian to become a Muslim, it's a big celebration. However, there are tons of Muslims who really, really love to know about the Christian faith and who secretly read the Bible and they try to contact Christians secretly. There's a lot going on in the Arab world about this. It's a ton. And I'm sure you have had a lot of people being killed for their faith.
Yeah.
It is real. I have seen it. I have lived it. And we need to pray for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Are there organizations that you would draw our attention to that are doing work to help in that way?
There are many out there. There are many organizations out there.
Yeah.
They are not very straightforward in what they do.
Right.
Yeah. And there's a lot that is being done. And most of these people, the ones who try to kind of change faith from being Muslims to Christians, they end up being resettled as immigrants because of the persecution. So they really, really almost go into hiding. Their life become like completely messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are so many stories, and there are so many of them who have been already resettled because of that. Okay. Yeah, but there are so many organizations doing the same.
Sure. Well, I appreciate that, and I do think this is something that we often in the West here can get so tunnel visioned and just focus on our own needs, or all the crazy stuff happening south of the border, and we're just like and lots of that is legit. But I think it is unfortunate that we lose sight of the larger church community that is undergoing persecution in Arab countries like this. So I appreciate the reminder this morning for us. I want to just kind of wrap up our conversation now. I know you've been a part of this church, Thunder Bay, here since you've been in Thunder Bay. So can you share first why you came to Thunder Bay? And then why did you settle in Grassroots? And what is it about this community that has endeared you to it all these years?
So, very interesting. So in Egypt, when I was being interviewed by the immigration officer to move to Canada, we had this really, really nice conversation. And then the lady was like, "Do you really want to go to Thunder Bay?"
She's like, it gets cold there.
I'm like, yes. And then she was okay. Then she's like, okay, there's Lakehead University, and I know you should be okay there. You can go to Lakehead University. And then we continued the conversation. We went into other questions, and she's like, you can go somewhere else. Do you really want to go to Thunder Bay? So I'm like, yes. And then again, we continued other conversations, and then she, for the third time, she really said, again, you can go somewhere else in Canada. Do you really want to go to Thunder Bay? So I'm like, what is it with Thunder Bay?
But maybe I don't.
Yeah, I knew someone here, and I'm like, yeah,
that was
you know
your
what?
connection.
Yeah, and this was a guy who like, why don't you come to Canada? And I applied to the Canadian embassy, being semi-skilled, semi-educated, so they are like, you can integrate easily. So they accepted me to come to Canada, and that's why I moved to Thunder Bay.
Good.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. So when I moved to Thunder Bay, I had already forgotten about traditional churches like the Catholic Church, the Anglican Church. There's this routine where, okay, you have to read from this, you have to read that, you have to kneel, you have to do this. I'm like, okay, this is not working for me. So I decided to come. When I came here, I went to several churches, and then I settled at Redwood. So I went to Redwood for a while, for a really long time, and then I'm like, okay, there were things that I didn't like about Redwood, and I started to look for something similar, like Redwood, and then I found Grassroots. And that's why I moved to Grassroots. So to be sincere, this is what I said to one of my friends at Redwood. I said, the leadership at Redwood has outgrown the congregation, and the parable of the lost sheep is no longer true. So if I was not a church, nobody cared where I was, and I still come to Redwood. But at Grassroots, because this is small, probably if it is a few weeks and I was not here, somebody would think about, oh, where is Joseph? Because this is a really small church. So I'm like, okay. So the proportion of the leadership to the congregation in Grassroots was perfect for the parable of the lost sheep. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to settle here, and that's why I'm still here.
Yeah, well, we're really grateful for you being here, aren't we, folks? Well, Joseph, thank you so much for sharing this morning. I think one question we can ask. Does anyone have one burning question that they would like to ask? If not, that's totally fine. But I think that's it. Thanks, Joseph, for joining. Wait. Oh, sorry. Wendy has a question. Sorry, I have this light here, so I can't see you. Yeah, what do you do right now, Joseph? What's your work? What keeps you busy?
Okay. So I work for the Northern Ontario School of Medicine University as a network administrator. I try to keep the bad guys from hacking us, but we got hacked once.
Oh. Well, I appreciate all that you do for our church community. Your willingness to just serve in any capacity has been just a really beautiful thing. And so thank you so much for sharing this morning. Let's give Joseph a round of applause. Thanks, brother. I'll take that. Good. Appreciate it.